Check 1, 2, 3, check. Okay, we shall do small individual topics today. Okay, we'll start with Nari Shakti. I once discussed about gender gap report and how India is lagging behind. Do you know, according to the latest gender gap report, globally, it takes 135 years minimum at the pace that we are progressing right now in filling the gap between male and female. If we progress at this pace, it would take at least 135 years to attain that equality. That is the pace we are in right now. Okay. So, what is more important? Women empowerment is more important. That's the way you can fill the gap. That's the reason I'm just starting my topic with this today. So, there is a very recent operation that India is taking. Okay. It is called Samudra. Anyone? Pradakshina. This is circumnavigation. This is the English word. Okay. The three services of India. What are they? The tri services of India: Indian Army, Indian Navy, and Indian Air Forces. So, from these three forces, they have picked up 10 women officers. Women. Okay. These 10 women officers are going to travel in a 50 feet yacht, which is indigenously made, and they're going to go round the earth. Okay. So, this operation is called as IASV Triveni. Samudra Pradakshina, you will remember this, and you will remember IASV Triveni. This is the name. IASV is Indian Army Sailing Vessel. Okay, this is Indian Army Sailing Vessel. So, what is indigenously built? Mostly Indian made. Mostly either the technology is India or the assembling is happening in India. So, it is built in India. Okay. So, this is a indigenously made 50 feet yacht. So, this is the vessel these 10 women officers are going to use to do the circumnavigation. Okay, so what are the names that are important here? INS Triveni, Samudra Pradakshina, and women from all three services. These are the details that you will remember. It is called an all-woman crew. So after this is the article, this is the data that you pick up. Now, how do they ask questions from geography? Why does a particular place becomes important? It becomes important because of operations like this. So, as part of this, their way or path, the starting point is Mumbai's gateway of India. Okay, Mumbai's. So, this is where they're going to start their expedition, and this is their endpoint. Now, what is the way? They're going to cross the equator twice. In their path, they're going to cross equator twice. And they are also going to three important capes. Three great capes. You know Cape? Cape Town? Cape? So, yes, they are going to Cape of Good Hope. These are their important stops. They're going to stop at other places also, but they will catch these places, pit stops. Cape of Good Hope is part of South Africa's Cape Town. And Cape Horn. This is southern Chile. As part of what continent? America. And Cape Leuven. Any guesses? Australia. Okay. So now you concentrate on capes. For this prelims, you read what are the important capes, what is their location in your maps. There was once, 2 years back, an issue in Suez Canal. One of the ships got stuck in Suez Canal. Everyone was busy reading about the ships, about the canals. They asked about shipping. They asked about the shipping industry. The question was about shipping industry. What is the percentage of trade that happens through shipping? That was their question. Okay. So now you read about capes, you see about canals. Take, because this has come up in news, take map, take your atlas, point those. Important canals, important capes. Okay. So these are the three great capes that they are going to touch. Starting point is Mumbai's Gateway of India, and that is where they're going to end their expedition also. Okay. Now, next topic is Aedes mosquito. I didn't want to pick up this topic, but the article was so huge, I thought I'll do at least 3 lines from this. Okay? Huh. So, Aedes mosquito, what is a vector? No. Yes. Vector is that biological organism which carries the disease. Disease causing bacteria, virus, or whatever. The disease causing agent is carried by this, by the vector. Okay. So, Aedes mosquito is a vector for chikungunya and malaria and dengue. So, these are tropical diseases. Yes, huge numbers in India. So, important, what it is causing, important. If a larger population of the country is getting affected, let it be even by a mosquito, that mosquito is important for us, not just a Donald Trump. If larger population of India is getting infected, is getting affected, important for our syllabus. Okay. So, Aedes mosquito is now important because it is a vector for these three things, and usually with the mosquitoes and this mosquito, there is a difference. We know mosquitoes cause diseases. We know that. Now, there is a problem in the conventional way of how we are treating mosquitoes. That is what the whole article was about. So what is this problem? Usually, what is the first thing that comes in your mind when we talk about mosquitoes? What are their breeding grounds? Mosquitoes, stagnant water, and usually we say uncleaned water. Yeah, contaminated water, open drainages and sewerages, or anywhere that you have left water even in your house for a long number of days. So those are the contamination grounds. Now, what is the prevention measure that the government does? What is the first prevention that they do for mosquitoes? Sprays, which is called as fogging or fumigation. Okay, don't call it spray, you call it as fogging or fumigation. So when is this done? Time of the day, evenings. You see, in all your community parks, in all your gated communities, very less early mornings. Very rarely you see them doing it in early mornings. Usually they do it only in the evenings. Huh? Let it be on roads, let it be in community parks, let it be in gated community, let it be done by the government or by the community themselves. But usually this activity is happened in the evening. Don't write yet. That's the problem here. The problem here is Aedes mosquito bites and is active in the mornings and afternoons. You don't do this in the house, you're doing around your building. But Aedes mosquito inside the building, inside houses, spaces. It is not out open in the air. It is inside your house. And clean water is its breeding ground and not muddy, stagnant water. So essentially how we are fighting it is wrong. In spite of many studies, government is still doing this. Because what is the work of that municipality? Fumigate this amount of gas in these number of days, in these number of areas. They do it. Tick mark, done for the day. What's the use? Are the government resources being used? Yes. Is there a policy in place? Yes. Is the money being spent? Yes. Is there a result because of it? No. So these are the gaps that you people are going to find once you go sit there. For that, you need to know about Aedes mosquito. ఎగ్జామ్ రాసేటప్పుడు కోపం వస్తుంది అది ఏ టైంలో గుడ్లు పెడితే నాకెందుకు అని బట్ దేర్ ఇస్ అ రీజన్ బిహైండ్ వై యూ హ్యావ్ టు నో ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ am I making sense? So if you have to fight the problem, you have to know everything about the problem, everything around it. So now the problem here is it is inside the houses and its active time is mornings and afternoons. So our ways which are there in place right now is not able to fight this mosquito. That was the article about. Okay. So while writing your answers, being latest is knowing these gaps, knowing the latest reports, knowing what are the changes that is happening in any particular topic. Okay. So the major problems is institutional deficits. So there is a lack of institutional support. Yes, see, this is all technology. This is all biotechnology. Implementation is happening at one place, but there is no proper what do you call awareness about the breeding cycle of this mosquito. Only if that is in place, only if that policy is made in a scientific manner, you can achieve results. Okay, so what are the major problems here? High cost, because there has to be a lot of research that has go into knowing about the cycle of the mosquito, and then finding a prevention of a medicine, whatever you call it, and then implementation. So there is high cost and there is lack of institutional support. Those are the two major problems. So one way that you can fight this Aedes mosquito is using a bacteria called as Wolbachia. Bacteria. Okay, this is a bacteria. ఇది ఎలా అంటే మన తల తన్నేవాడు అంటే వాడి తల తన్నేవాడు ఇంకొకటి ఉంటాడు కదా. సో ఇఫ్ ఏడీస్ మస్కిటో హ్యాస్ ద ఎయిమ్ ఆఫ్ spreading these diseases like chikungunya, malaria and dengue to people, Wolbachia bacteria is capable enough to kill that virus in the mosquito. ఇది దానికి మందు. Okay, so what they do is they inject this bacteria into a couple of mosquitoes and let them into the environment. Now those mosquitoes which carry Wolbachia bacteria go and mate with the existing mosquitoes. So once they mate, the future generations have Wolbachia. When they have this, the disease is not spread. So it is treating the vector. Okay. So this is how you stop mosquitoes from spreading the disease. Wall. W-O. Okay. Next topic. We'll do about intellectual property rights. So the major organization for this is World Intellectual Property Organization. Okay. And you have two main conventions. What do you have? Two main conventions. Okay. Ruled by or under to manage intellectual property. So what is intellectual property in the first place? Any intangible discovery or an asset made by a human being is called as intellectual property. A new innovation, a new creation. Okay. So that is called as intellectual property. It is an intangible asset. If there is land, you know, it is 25 square meters at the cost of 50 rupees per square meter. This land is the same, that land is the same value. Tangible, you can count, you can value. Intangible, you cannot value. Intellectual property. Okay. So, there are two main conventions in place to take care of intellectual properties rights globally. And all these work under WIPO. Okay, so they are Paris Convention for Protection of Intellectual Property, Paris Convention for Protection of Intellectual Property. Okay, and the other one is Berne Convention. Berne. So these are very important. Okay, they directly give you match the following. BERNE, Berne and Paris. So what they usually do for prelims is give conventions, name of the convention, and then ask you to match with what specific issue that they deal with. Same protection, same. Okay. Okay, they specifically say literacy and artistic works. So the convention, the name of it says protection of IP for protection of so here there is a classification. So let us see what that classification is. Okay. So these are the two conventions in place. You remember these conventions, you relate it to intellectual properties. You remember these. Okay. Intellectual. నా హ్యాండ్ రైటింగ్ పాడైంది కదా ఎప్పుడు కంటే మా అబ్బాయికి ఎగ్జామ్స్ అంటే వాడితో రాసి చదివి నా రైటింగ్ కూడా పోయింది ఈకి సికి తేడా లేదు యూకి ఏకి తేడా లేదు ఐఎమ్ రీడింగ్ హిస్ బుక్స్ ఫ్రమ్ మోర్ దాన్ 10 days no so even I'm writing like him so there is industrial property and you have something called as copyrights. So you know where these copyrights work? Like videos, mostly this digital content. Okay. Here you have different things like patent and geographical indication. అదే నేను కష్టపడి అంత పెద్దగా రాసాను ఓకే trademark industrial design trade secret these are the various types okay this is the classification of industrial property okay so what is a patent yes so there is a certain criteria that has to be fulfilled for any product to be eligible to be called as a patent one is it has to be a new innovation and it has to be a non-obvious innovation when I say non-obvious innovation if you take a professional from that specific field and you tell him this is the property of this metal that I have found out he shouldn't say isn't it obvious It has to be a non-obvious technique. Okay, it has to be a new innovation. And the most important thing is there should be an industrial use. Okay, so the major three things for patent. Only if it fulfills these, it has to be a novel idea. When I say novel idea, it has to be great. Okay, and it has to be non-obvious. ఏంటిది డిస్కవరీనా ఇది కూడా తెలీదా నీకు అని అనిపించద్దు జనాలకి. ఓహో ఇది ఇలా కూడా వాడచ్చా అని సర్ప్రైజ్ అవ్వాలి. And what was the third one? Industrial use. There has to be an industrial use. Only then it is you are eligible to apply for a patent. Okay. Now you have an act, Patent Act of 1972 na 70. Okay. So it is all ruled under Patent Act 1970. Okay. You know what is a trademark? Example? Yes, any logos of any brands. So they are all trademarks. And that is that comes under the purview of Trademark Act 1999. Okay, Trademark Act 1999. And what is a trade secret? Yes, so they have their formulas, their unique formula. There is their unique marketing strategy. There is a unique promotion strategy that they want to keep in secret and is unique to them. So that is a trade secret. You have something called as industrial design. Okay, these are all different categories. Okay. So apart from the World Intellectual Property Organization, you also have TRIPS, TRIPS, TRIPS under WTO. Okay, so they have released a report. They release Global Innovation Index. The report is called Global Innovation GII. Okay. In 2024. So reports always we do last year's. Okay. So according to this report, the ranking of India is 39 out of 133 countries. Okay. India's rank is important. India's rank is 39 out of 133 countries. And the patent filing has increased by 15%. Okay. Is the ranking GII. Which is the first in the ranking? I will check. GII 2024 rank 1. Switzerland. For the 14th consecutive year, it is Switzerland. Switzerland, Sweden, US, Singapore, and UK. Top 5. Okay. So a little mains point of view to it. Now, what is the need of having these rights? Need for these rights. One is to encourage industry, to bring more new innovations, to improve ease of doing business. Make products more economically viable. Credit to creators. For economic growth. For technological transfer. First point adega encourage more new innovations. For the namesake, yes. Credit to the creators. If you're also recognizing art, you're giving the credit, you're also encouraging others to do it. It's same like competition in your schools. There's no end to the list. Just keep adding. So in India, you have National IPR policy. Okay. So whenever you're doing policies, whenever doing acts, what all do? You see what is the nodal agency first. Okay. So the nodal agency is DIP. Department of Industrial Promotion and Policy under Ministry of Commerce. Okay. And then you see what is the objective. Done? That is what it is about industry, about intellectual property rights. Okay. Now we will see what is next topic, blood moon. చూసారా బయటకు వెళ్ళి Okay, so what is lunar eclipse? So this is as part of the phenomena now. Lunar eclipse, solar eclipse. Okay, so what happens in lunar eclipse? Earth comes in between sun and moon. We know that we know the order of sizes in the decreasing order: sun, earth, and moon. Sun is a non-self-illuminating object. It only takes the rays that fall from the sun and just reflects it. Yes, that's a property of the moon. So what happens? Is your sun is your earth. Now all of them fall in a straight line. Is your moon. Now earth stops the rays falling on the moon. Yes. So this is umbra. This is the 100% shadowed area of earth. So now the moon is completely in the umbra area of earth. So there is not a ray of sunlight falling onto it. This is penumbra. Now the moon falls in the umbra region of earth. Okay. Now you all know something called as the Rayleigh scattering. Raleigh. So what happens here? So when a ray of sunlight falls on a glass prism, a part of it is reflected back. Whatever passes through the prism splits 4, 5, 6, and 7 into VibGR. VIBGYOR. R has to roll. Okay. So, ivanni lower wavelengths. Lower wavelengths. These are higher wavelengths. GTHS. Okay. So, what's happening now? When from the whenever Earth is coming in between, this whole phenomena is called as Rayleigh's scattering. Okay. Now, here, when the rays are falling, most of the rays are objected, yes, on falling onto the moon. But what happens is red and orange have higher wavelengths And these are the only ones which are able to manage to reach moon. That is the reason you see that copper color, that orange shade that comes onto the moon, because it is total lunar eclipse, 100% lunar eclipse. You called it blood moon, but what is the actual color? It is copper, it is orange. Okay, and why is it orange? Because of the higher wavelength of red. After the scattering, when the sunlight is scattered, because of the higher wavelength of red, that is the only thing that is able to reach moon in the when it is totally in the umbra. Okay. Amen. Huh. So umbra is the darkest shadowed area of Earth. Okay, done. Now we'll discuss a little about Nepal. So what happened in Nepal? So you understand one thing about any revolt, movement. So this I will talk totally in mains perspective. Okay. Any revolt, any movement or any protest. Usually protests are short term. You fight for one cause. There is not overall dissatisfaction. No. But these two is overall dissatisfaction. Okay. So what happens is there is one trigger incident. Okay. There is one trigger incident. For this triggered incident, they will start a protest. One section of people will start a protest. If there are bigger causes, if there are various other problems, others are also able to connect. It just builds and becomes a movement or a revolt. Okay? What you have to understand behind any revolt, any movement, any such coup that we are frequently seeing in world politics these days in all these small countries is you have to understand that it is not just, don't get carried away by this trigger incident. It's just the trigger. You need something to push you. Yes. Yes. See, there is a lot of dissatisfaction in people, but they're just not venting it out. But one final nail in the coffin pushes them to start. So here in the Nepal, it was about the ban of those 26 apps. They banned Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp. Why did they do it? It's not just the ban. A little background. Why did they do it? It is because the Gen Z, Yes, the company did not agree to the government's regulations. They are not registered, is what the government told. But the real reason is that Gen Z people seeing it is all about corruption. Okay, so the whole Nepal's issue is about the Oli government's corruption. That is the main reason behind. Okay, they say there are no funds, there is no industry in Nepal. Okay, there is no economic activity in Nepal. They are purely dependent on tourism. That's their major source of income. Now, they say there is no new projects coming in, there's no development, but the people of the elite society, all these Nepo kids, of the politicians, of the top bureaucrats, are flaunting their luxurious life on their Instagram, on their private accounts of social media, on in their handles. Now people question, if only our country is so poor, if only there's no economic activity, how is your son and daughter able to afford that lifestyle, and why not me? That is the question. So they started questioning based on the pictures coming on social media. To control that, government has banned these apps, giving a reason that these companies are not properly registered with the Nepalese government according to our rules. One part of it. Other part of it. In Nepal, there is an unemployment rate, not necessary for remembering while writing essays, maybe you can just use it. A 12% of total unemployment in Nepal, and especially in the age group of 15 to 29 years, 20% unemployment. So what are all these jobless people doing? Scrolling. Now this has stopped. Cause for the revolt. So what usually happens in such revolts is there is a pile up of frustration. There is one kicking in factor, that one trigger. Only one section of people start. So here it was this. Mostly it was jobless Gen Z kids. They started it. After it has come to this point, what happens is non-state actors step in. Let it be internal factors, let it be external factors. When I say internal factors, there is one major opposition party. So this is all for you to understand how international politics work. Don't write all of this in your answers and essays. I'm just giving you this idea to understand what actually happens and what is written in the newspapers. Okay, so these non-state actors come into place. What do these non-state actors? So when I say internal non-state actors, let it be your opposition parties. Okay, let it be a big businessman who's trying to get hold of the whole country, of the whole nation, because they're all small economies. Okay, activists are very less. When I say non-state actors, I meant in the negative way. Activists are working for the country in a positive way. Okay, otherwise there is this external influence. You have something called as black state of the USA, deep state of the USA. Okay, wherein that is this set of people who are trying to turn down the governments. Okay, so they say there is an alternative theory, there is an unproved rumor saying it is always this deep state working behind any military coup that happens in countries like this. Because initially, till the PM escapes, the military is in their support. Once that one person, let it be the president of Sri Lanka or the prime minister of Nepal or the prime minister of Myanmar, till they escape, military works in the favor of the government. Once that one person escapes, then the military changes, their attitude changes. They go take charge of the government. Okay, because there is some external force working. So here there is a NGO that is supporting, that has supported this protest. And the major donators to that NGO, the major members are all gun dealers, weapon dealers. Okay, not necessary for your exam. Okay, so that is how things work. So what happens in smaller countries like this when there is very less economic opportunity is this frustration in youth. There is a lot of energy that is not being tapped, that is not being diverted and focused in a productive way. That is when these things happen. If the government is not responsible. Okay, what happened in Nepal till 2006, till 2005, they were monarchs. In 2008, only in 2008, monarchy was totally abolished and they wanted democracy. Then they declared themselves as Republican democracy like India. They wanted a constitution. There again, there's this fight. The northern Nepalis are called as Pahadis. The southern Nepalis are called as Magadis. Now, there is a constant tussle between these two people or difference of idea. There is Communist Party, totally pro-China, anti-India. Okay, there is Nepalese Party, pro-India, pro-democratic. So, there were 15 governments in 15 years in Nepal. That is how unstable the government is. So, whenever there is an unstable government, there is no progress, there is no real development because one is Communist Party, pro-China, one is Democratic Party, Nepalese Party, pro-democracy. So, there is a total change of direction. So, where is your progress happening? They come, do couple of things, next government comes, change everything. Just waste of resources. So these are the main reasons why they do not develop, why such huge things happen. Can you imagine our PM getting attacked? See, I won't say it's impossible, but it is very difficult for a country like India to go into such situation. Reason being, India is a very diverse country. Yes, so we are divided by caste, religion, language, ethnicity. We are divided by so many things. A major point that has hurt the emotions of Hindu population is not affecting the Muslim, Christian, and the other minorities. So if someone is protesting against the problem of a religion, only a set of Indians are doing it. Understanding what I'm saying? So I'm trying to say that to find that one common cause to unite the whole nation, which is diverse in so many ways, is not possible. It can only be the economic incompetence of a government. And luckily, let it be Congress party, then BJP or UPA and now NDA. They have always done good for the country. We are progressing. The numbers are showing. So there is no reason for people to go against the government. Okay, and we have elections is one of our powerful tools. You're angry at one government, you don't vote to them. As big as Congress, doesn't matter. They don't even get deposits in states. So we release our stress through elections. That is our channel of expressing. We do it. And there are multiple elections coming up. Every 2 years, there's one major election that's coming up. So these situations are very less likely to happen in a country like India. We are self-sufficient, self-reliant in to a certain extent, at least till our basic needs, we can feed ourselves. A country like Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, for development, for even for capital, they have to rely on China, USA, or other European countries. That's not the case with India. Getting the point? So this kind of an understanding, you will need this kind of an understanding for your essays to be able to write a more balanced view. Okay? So that is what it is happening with Nepal now. Done? Anything else? Are you doing newspaper every day? No? Why? See, take at least 30 minutes of time, read all the headings. If you're not able to make notes for all the articles, at least make it for two or three, whichever you feel important out of all. Read the others, whatever you feel are okay, you have to read necessary. Read that. If you're not able to adjust your time to make notes for everything, at least make pointers, 1 point, 2 point. At least that's enough. Okay? So if you're done with this homework already, reading magazines in the end will become easy for you. Because anyways, we are going to rely on those magazines end of the day. We will supplement it. So I'm saying instead of doing just magazines, do all this basic work of yours today so that those magazines will make more sense for you tomorrow. Even from the magazine, you will able to tell, okay, this is necessary, this is not necessary. Your reading skills will improve. Your CSAT comprehensions. It will be helpful. Do the editorials for your essays. Don't skip these things. At least half an hour, minimum. No excuse to it. Doing newspaper for at least 30 minutes a day is a part of your study schedule. Don't tell me there's no time for newspaper. It is part of your schedule. Okay? Done? Anything else? Any doubts, problems while doing newspapers? No? Done? Thank you.